because of a pandemic. North Carolina Attorney General Josh Stein joining us now. You and other attorney generals across the nation are actually reviewing options of what should be done legally. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah, I'm going to be filing a lawsuit because the Postal Service is simply too critical an institution to allow this kind of weakening, damaging that we've been seeing in recent weeks.
And we've known for years that the post office doesn't make money, but like the Congresswoman said, it's a service, not a business. Can you explain that difference to our viewers?
Sure. 80% of all medication the VA sends out to vets goes to the Postal Service. Rural communities, it's an absolute lifeline. There's a reason why Amazon uses the post office to get to people all across the country, is because it's too expensive. And that's why we need the Postal Service, particularly in a pandemic where it's going to be a major way that people vote. It's essential to our democracy. These 11 weeks before the election is not the time to radically restructure and slow down the Postal Service.
I was going to ask you, do you think President Trump would be even bringing this up if we didn't have the upcoming election?
I don't want to get too much into what his motivations are. I frankly have been disheartened by the way he's creating confusion and trying to undermine people's faith and the ability to vote, whether you want to vote by mail, which is completely legitimate, or you want to vote early, 17 days, 2 weekends included, or on election day. There are going to be so many ways for the people of North Carolina to vote this November, and I just want to make sure everybody takes advantage of this opportunity.
The Postmaster General says changes aren't coming until after the election, but do you think there are changes that need to be made at all?
Yes. I don't want to get into the operation of the Postal Service in terms of how to make it more efficient. I do know that they've been asked to do things in terms of fully funding their health benefits that other businesses simply do not have to do. So in some ways, it's Congress's fault that they're in the trouble they are. But what I want is the assurance that the Postal Service will stop all of these radical restructurings, shutting down these sorting machines, telling carriers that they can't deliver mail anymore, and fix the damage they've done. The election is simply too important for the country.
Back to that statement you said about it being Congress's fault. What do you hope Congress does when they meet about this later this week?
A couple of things. One, they need to give an infusion to the Postal Service to make sure it has healthy vitality for months to come. And two, they need to do a special appropriation to help deal with the influx of mail that's going to come through early voting through the mail. In North Carolina, there's already been a 10-fold increase in the request for mail-in absentee ballots. And in a pandemic, that's a completely legitimate way for people to vote because they don't want to go wait in line and risk getting sick, and they shouldn't have to, because we've had a long history of people being able to vote absentee in North Carolina, and people should have confidence that if they request their ballot. In fact, North Carolina is the first state in the country to send out mail-in ballots starting September 4th. Request it now, get it in September, and send it back in as soon as you know who you want to vote for, and your vote will be counted.
Yeah, I've gotten 2 mailers alone in the past 2 weeks about absentee voting myself, so I know that there will be a large influx this voting season. Attorney General Josh Stein, thank you for your insight.